So I was playing a blitz game the other day, and I decided to play this move, knight c6 here. My opponent plays this d4 setup with knight f3 and bishop g5. Now, this is a type of move I find annoying, because I don't want to play my knight in f6 and then get him to be traded. Not that there's something particularly wrong with it, but I decided to kick away the bishop, and then I played g5 and then bishop g3. I decided to play like this. Now, how do you punish white for playing like that? Okay, so white only has two pieces developed. It's just this bishop, which is quite a good bishop, and this knight is attacking a central square. Now, in order to nullify the white's attack, considering the white is the white player is supposed to be the one that is ahead of development, how do we nullify all of that? Okay, I play bishop g7, and now white plays c3. Now, I particularly despise this type of opening because it's very solid, but it's very passive, but it always gives birth to a very boring game. Now here, the move I always forget to play is this one, g4. This is the best move. Now, it's a bit counterintuitive because white will have to play knight h4 or knight e5, but actually that's okay, because if knight to e5, this allows me to trade everything. Knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, and now black's best move is c6, solidifying the center, and white doesn't have a good center anymore. Now, it doesn't mean that black is winning already, but the entire setup of the white player has been nullified. And now here there's this thematic idea. If white tries to develop, let's say e3 and then develop and then castle, now I can play queen to b6, targeting this weak pawn. Remember, this is what you do when your opponent uses the dark square bishop straight away in the beginning of the game. If white defends it like this, then queen to c7 puts pressure and should be winning the e5 pawn. So obviously that's the best way to deal with it. After g4 here, I also think, okay, the knight can go to h4. But again, we have misplaced the knight. Black goes on with e6, and now the threat is to simply play something like bishop to f6, and then put more pressure on this knight and should win it. White's best move is to play pawn to h3, then you support it with h5. Then white's best move now is to try and strike the center, and then knight to f6, develop the pieces, e5, knight e4, and then finally take this bishop, because if the bishop moves, then the queen will be able to win the knight for free. So after take, queen to g5, puts pressure on g4. Again, it's not like black is completely winning, but this is the best way to deal with this type of setup. So when white opens this bishop and the knight in f3 straight away, and has a pawn in d4 and one in c3, remember the weaknesses of the white player will be g4 by you in order to misplace the white knight for a long time, and the weak b2 pawn that you can target later on.